Alright, and here's a video review for the Transformer Club's freebie figure this year, the incentive figure for free, just for signing up, is Maximal Rampage, or Protoform X. Basically Rampage before he became the giant crab tank on Beast Wars, when they experimented on him and made him evil. He is based off of the Megatron mold, the Deluxe Megatron mold from Transformers Prime, that came in the first edition pack with the Deluxe Optimus. And you'll notice that his head looks very small. And it is a small head sculpt. Like, there's no way around it. It looks better in person. Like, even looking at it at the camera, it doesn't look quite that tiny, and I'm sure that's one of those optical tricks your eyes play, you adjust to things that happen every day, that your eyes do, that the camera, being a cold, unfeeling mechanical camera, just doesn't do. It is a tiny head, which is kind of a shame, because the sculpt itself on it is actually really cool, and if it were a little bit bigger, it would match the body a little bit better, and it wouldn't be as small. Like I said, it doesn't look as bad in person, but it is still a tiny head. There's no two ways around it. I'll show you why later in the video. There is a very valid reason for it, and it is a valid reason. Unlike the counterpunch head, where like the factory just decided to shrink it when there was room to put a bigger one head on it. Just a real quick comparison. Here he is with last year's depth charge figure. So you got a pre-Beast Wars, Dawn of Futures Past, depth charge and Protoform X to go against each other, which is kind of cool, and they look nice together. Head aside, now that we've gotten that out of the way, the figure itself is beautiful. The colors really work on this mold. The body type really works on this mold. Like coming down here into the silver with the painted ribs, you know, kind of designed down here in the X up here. The purple, the orange fade on this is amazing. It's a really beautiful and striking figure. I love the colors on this. It really goes together really well. And I almost kind of wish that they had just left the original Megatron head on here and marketed it as a version of Transmetal 2 Megatron, because the same colors, and it really is. The rest of it is just absolutely stunning. And like I said, the head sculpt is actually really nice. It's just a little small. So yeah, the colors on this I love. The paint job they did on this is probably, this may be, like, body-wise, this may be my favorite club figure they've done. It's really, really nice. And I'll move on. So I'm not just dwelling on it all night, but it is a really stunning paint job. He does have the blaster, which again works really well as pre-Beast Wars version of his giant cannon. He can attach to his arm like Megatron. He can also hold it down and hold it as a standard weapon if you'd rather do that. He can entirely up to you. So that's an option. He transforms exactly the same as Megatron, because the only real difference is the head sculpt. And it's just a really simple matter. Pop this out. Come on. Just pull the abdomen down low. Plug it in down here. Open up the backpack, lift this up. Pull these out to the side here. Bring the legs down. And then up at the upper body, bring this up. Now you can, as an option, let's see, we'll fold the arms down. On the back, you can fold these out and have, in robot mode, have this this piece sit up along the back. You open it up so the fins are kind of sticking in the side, and then close this around it. Fold in. So you fold these back into where they were in robot mode, but basically this sits outside. It doesn't fold all the way down; it just sits outside it, and it forms a little bit more of a coherent backpack. It holds together a little better. But for some reason, and again, like I was saying, like the eye kind of visually fills in the head to make it look not quite as weird in robot mode, to not look quite as tiny. It's a little harder to do if you have this backpack sticking up behind it, because it just emphasizes the smallness of the head. So I do tend to fold it down. But just to let you know, that's an option. So let's get back to transformation here. So the arms come under here and fold up. Like that, so the tabs are facing in. You'll see these little thrusters inside here kind of become intake engines in the back of his vehicle mode. And you want to make sure these peg together back here. Again, these panels come out to the side. This panel should keep coming forward. And you gotta be real careful because sometimes these panels these are just held in place by friction up here, so they do like to pop out if you're not careful. And they take a little bit of force to move out. But then this panel comes up and forward and comes down over the head. And we'll focus on that in just a second. But it comes down over the head, this comes down, the legs come back, these panels come forward, and you want to make sure you click these all the way into place because they kind of stop, and then once you do that, they click just a little bit further. And that, you bring those forward to form the front of the vehicle mode. So the arms are back here, the legs come out to the sides, and then you open up the panels here, close up the feet. Again, open up the panel on the bottom, close up the feet so they stick back. And they come around, and underneath, this peg is going to go into the side of the leg here on either side. And then there's a tab back here that's going to peg into the top of the leg, just like this. And the legs actually stay in place pretty securely. That tabs the lower legs in place. These swing out. You got to get it at just the right point to get in here and flip these orange spikes on the end of the wing out. And again, see, this kind of blocks it, and you have to kind of rotate it so it sits right in there. There's a shape that just lets you get these out. And then these come up, and there's a peg right here that's going to peg in under the wing here. So you just line that up, peg that on. Yeah, come on, there we go. Straighten everything out. And then fold this peg up, and there's a peg right here that pegs into the front of the gun there in vehicle mode. And there is his vehicle mode. It's the same as Megatron's, just, again, with what I feel is a much cooler color scheme. I really, really like the orange and purple and the red and how they all work together here on this form. And here's what I was talking about, the head. The limitation on this mold is that the head, due to transformation, pops up through this hole here. And without having to modify yet another panel, maybe they could have cut this away and not changed anything. But to get these out to you for free, there's some they can't modify every single thing on the figure. And you'll notice the horns here on his head, they just barely clear this. So it's just kind of like the small head is kind of a necessity of the mold, whereas Megatron's head sat a little lower and had more of a rounded shape and could fill more of this gap up here with his horns and everything. The style of his head fitting through this hole, it just barely fits as it is. And even then, the edges kind of sit under the horns a little bit. You kind of have to push them through. Now, could they have made the head a little bigger and made the horns pop out after transformation? Maybe, but again, that's more engineering that for a freebie figure just probably wasn't going to get done. Especially since they spent a lot of money retooling that Scorponok this year to take a Headmaster, which I think is really kind of above and beyond for a club figure or a BotCon figure than they've done in the past. That's a really nice looking Scorponok. And like I said, this is a nice figure. His alt mode is amazing because the head doesn't look too small in alt mode because there's no real context to make it to compare it to, like, visible limbs. But yeah, so it's a neat vehicle mode. And again, it explains why the head is so small. Unfortunate, but kind of a necessity based on this mold. And in every other aspect, this mold works really well for Rampage, so I see why they chose it. And then you go back to robot mode, unpeg those, unpeg back here and at the bottom, flip in these corner pieces, and then fold them up and around back onto the leg. Purple toes front, orange toe in the rear. Purple toes to the front, orange toe to the rear. Bring that down, go ahead and pull these out to the side. This panel up off his head. Unpeg the arms, rotate them down and around and out. Bring this down, and again, you can leave this on his back, or you can just fold it all the way down and around like this. And then these panels, right up here at this purple panel, collapse in, all the way in like that. Just like that. Yep, popped his leg off. Because of course. Now bring his legs down, abdomen piece comes up and plugs back in there. And then again, before you fold this all down, fold these up around to form the little shape around his symbol, X symbol there on his chest. Then fold the whole back part down and snap it in. Bring the arms down. Attach the gun. Attach the gun, and you're done. Light is green, trap is clean. And there's Rampage from the club. The Transformer Collector Club, their freebie figure for this year. Like I said, small head, yes. Everything else about this thing is freaking awesome. And maybe somebody will make a bigger head for him, who knows. But, like I said, aside from the necessarily small head, I really, really dig this figure. More than I should, I think. But yeah, I really like the way he looks with depth charge.